On a Swiss mountaintop, armed guards protect a secret meeting of the world's power elite. At Yale University, the scions of America's first families confess their sexual exploits from a gruesome coffin. In a smoke-filled room, a handful of power brokers manipulate the global economy. These are the purported activities of some of America's secret societies, groups with names like Bilderberg, Skull and Bones, and the Trilateral Commission.
What people were going to see is going to make their hair curl. What's been going on in front of their face and behind their back all their lives, while they thought a completely different story was unfolding.
A lot of people are familiar with the more famous names that are connected to these secret societies, Henry Kissinger, David Rockefeller, etc., etc. But there are literally hundreds of top-level, very powerful people who are at the inner core of these secret societies.
From the United States' earliest history, secret societies such as the Freemasons and the Odd Fellows have existed. Their rituals, symbols, and secret handshakes have offered an endless source of fascination and speculation for the uninitiated. Now, according to a small but growing number of conspiracy theorists, these purportedly benign institutions are part of a sinister plot.
There is, in truth, a hidden hand that's working behind the scenes, behind all these apparently unconnected organizations. And they are advancing quietly, unseen, an agenda for world government, world central bank, world currency, world army, and a microchip population. And it's not done openly, because if we knew that was the agenda, we'd scream very loudly.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. Before we go, you and George Bush were both members of Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale. The rule is, if someone mentions Skull and Bones, you walk out of the room. If you're both in a you're both in a presidential debate, and the moderator says Skull and Bones, do you both leave the podiums?
I doubt it.
You'll hang in there.
I think you'll see both of us have a terrific... You know, I'd love to have a debate with the president right now. There's so much to talk about for our country.
You go look through history, and history is just one long list of conspiracies. In fact, I often tell people, if it's not an act of God, it's a conspiracy.
Although there are hundreds of secret societies operating in the United States, there are a few whose names appear frequently. They are the Freemasons, Skull and Bones, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the most secretive of all, Bilderberg.
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
The structure by which the world is controlled by a few people, literally a handful at the very top, is like Russian dolls, one doll inside another, inside another, inside another. I call this web in which they all fit the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, illuminated into knowledge that the rest of us don't get. And that Illuminati has been manipulating for centuries to bring about what is now appearing before our eyes.
The notion of a few hands that surreptitiously pull all the strings is not new. It is as old as the oldest secret societies.
With some of the most famous people in the world today, you find that their rituals are an absolute mirror of the ones that were carried out in Babylon, in Egypt, and the ancient world in general. It's an unbroken span of manipulation from the far ancient world to the present day.
While it's difficult to pinpoint when the world's first secret societies were formed, cuneiform tablets from the Sumerian civilization may suggest it is as early as 2500 BC. But we do know that Egyptian pharaoh Thutmose III creates in 1500 BC a group that follows the modern definition of a secret society: elite members who perform secret rituals and possess secret knowledge they use to influence civilization.
They were the people that built the fantastic structures like the pyramids and stuff with knowledge that a primitive people would never have been able to do.
The reason a lot of the ancient knowledge had to be kept secret was simply because the knowledge they had would have empowered the people.
Probably the #1 secret society in terms of fear and speculation are the Freemasons.
The Freemasons are the connective tissue that have carried ancient knowledge all the way through the centuries up into the modern secret societies. Now, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I'm not saying that all Masons are sinister conspirators. It's not the case at all. But what Masonic historians and authors have made very, very plain is that within Freemasonry, there is a small inner core, an inner circle, if you will, of people who have some knowledge of the true agenda. And then you have a huge outer circle that basically doesn't even know the inner circle exists.
Who are the handful of men inside this so-called inner circle? To find the answer, conspiracy advocates point to one secret society in continuous existence since 1832.
Skull and Bones is a springboard for a young man to be brought in, trained, conditioned, imbued with these doctrines, and then placed into positions of power to carry out the agenda of the older secret societies.
The ratio of Skull and Bones members who go on to significant positions of power, either in front of the camera or behind it, is enormous. The Skull and Bones Society does not operate in isolation. It is a strand within the greater web, and an important one in America. Presidents are not elected by ballot, they are selected by blood. If you listen to what people have said who've had some experience of that secret society, the Skull and Bones, it is more than just a talking shop. It involves the worship of the skull.
The Skull and Bones initiation ceremony is said to be held in April in the tomb's basement. One distinguished member serves as master of ceremonies. Once enrobed, he is known as Uncle Toby. The shortest senior is appointed Little Devil and dons a satanic costume. A bonesman with a deep voice is dressed as Don Quixote. Another is dressed as the college's founder, Elihu Yale. Still another is given papal vestments. It would all be rather funny if it weren't for the fact that among the former bonesmen are 3 presidents: William Howard Taft, George Bush, George W. Bush, numerous senators and ambassadors, industrialists like William Whitney, CIA agents, State Department officials, and publishing magnate Henry Luce.
For close to 2 centuries, Skull and Bones has produced the stewards and leaders of the American ruling class, the Eastern establishment, elite core of diplomats, spies, Supreme Court justices, senators, presidents.
The Skull and Bones Society seems to be particularly important for bringing American elite bloodline young people into the web and being initiated into the web. The reason that it is so secret is because if the people of America realized what its elite presidents of the future get up to, they'd realize that they live in anything but the land of the free.
Did you have to climb naked into a coffin for your initiation back in 1968?
Last time I was naked was sprinting down the street somewhere. No.
But then on Sunday, there's a special session that is given the name Connubial Bliss. And in that session, it's a sexual autobiography. It's hard to imagine George Bush, the former president, chattering away about his early sexual experiences. Nonetheless, one feels that he has to have gone through it. It was required of the society.
Absolute secrecy is also required. In his 1999 autobiography, George W. Bush devotes just one sentence to his membership in Skull and Bones. Quote, "My senior year, I joined Skull and Bones, a secret society so secret, I can't say anything more."